Hi guys, Hiva here with poet Kate Davis and translator Joaquin Gavilano. We're going to be listening to the Fearless Vault tracks. It's the last of our Vault Trap videos.
For now, till Reputation comes out.
For now. So I don't know much about these tracks. I know a lot about one of the tracks, and it's probably going to be my favorite, but I'm keeping an open mind. What about the rest of you? Have you heard all the tracks?
Not a single one that I know of.
I have heard all the tracks. The one I remember the most is Mr. Perfectly Fine, though.
That's mine too. Okay, well, let's get started.
Once the last drop of rain has dried off the pavement, shouldn't I find a stain? But I never do. The way the tires turn stones on old county roads, they leave a muddy underneath, reminds me of you. You find graffiti on the walls of old bathroom stalls. You know you can scratch it right off. It's how it used to be. But like the dollar in your pocket, it's been spent and traded in. You can't change where it's been. Reminds me of me. I lived and I learned. Had you got burned, held out and held on, God knows, too long and wasted time, lost tears, swore that I'd get out of here, but no amount of freedom gets you clean. I've still got you all over me.
Lots of metaphors in that first section.
Yeah.
Not sure that they're
Yeah,
all
we've got
landing.
them. The one that's not landing for me is you find graffiti on the walls of old bathroom stalls. You can scratch it right off. That's not the way graffiti works.
Yeah.
You can't just like scratch it right off. I guess if it's written in pencil, you could, but that's the one I
it
struggle
really
with the
depends on
most.
the material.
Yeah, that I also wouldn't call that graffiti, but that's being really nitpicky. Like if it was like scribbles or something on the bathroom stalls, I think it would make more sense, but not gonna get into
Even then, it's not like you can scratch that off.
Yeah, I guess so.
And then, like, going from that immediately to $1 in your pocket, it's been spent and traded in. Like, what is that supposed to be?
But like the dollar in your pocket, it's been spent and traded in. You can't change where it's been. I think it's supposed to be about like how you can't really change how your past affects your relationship with a specific person. That's the only way I can find how like it reminds me of me. Like that's the only way I can connect it to that idea, is that like she, or the character in this song, the speaker in this song, feels like she's been used in the past by other people, and that's like affected her relationship with this person.
Yeah, that makes sense. But the reminds me of you part is where I struggle. The way the tires turn stones on old county roads, they leave them muddy underneath. That's the part that I struggle to like make sense of a little bit, because it's like, what is that saying exactly? Do you know?
Yeah, and like what exactly is reminding the speaker of the other person? Is it like the mud underneath, or is it like the whole way that tires turn stones on old country roads? It's just like, it's like hard to see what specifically in that metaphor reminds the speaker of that person. I think that like maybe just like the setting reminds her of that person. Like maybe that's a person that she drove on old county roads with, and like the act of doing that, like they did that a lot, and that's why it reminds her of that person. But I think it's hard to see exactly how that metaphors work.
Was the one that I met you with your hands in your pockets and you don't you wish you had me grin? Well, I did, so I smiled and I melted like a child. Now every breath of air I breathe reminds me of then. And I lived and I learned, had you got burned, held out and held on, God knows, too long and wasted time, lost tears, swore that I'd get out of here, but no amount of freedom gets you clean. I've still got you all over me. I learned and found out what it was to turn around and see that we were never really meant to be. So I lied and I cried and I watched a part of myself die. 'Cause no amount of freedom gets you clean. I've still got you all over me. I still got you all over me. I still got you all over me.
I think I like the chorus more than I like the verses in this song, just because I think the verses have a lot of mixed metaphors and they don't always line up. Like the image story of the verses isn't like consistent.
Yeah, I got really stuck on the your "Don't you wish you had me" grin, and I'm trying to picture how that looks like. Like that's very specific for a grin. But yeah, like I think that kind of goes along with the images not landing as well. But yeah, the chorus is nice. The song's fairly chill. Not very clear about what's going on in the lyrics, though.
Yeah, and the got burned in the chorus could be better. Like she could have used a better metaphor, I guess, or like
Yeah,
I
well,
don't know what's the word
Yeah,
for that.
I think that like the idea of like the landing of the chorus is like no amount of freedom gets you clean. I still got you all over me. Like she could have used like a metaphor that related more to that over like getting burned.
Yeah, because I feel like getting burned is such a common expression, and like
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted a little bit more from this song in terms of like this symbolism and the imagery and the metaphor throughout.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't feel cohesive. The
Yeah,
writing just didn't
Yeah,
feel
for sure.
cohesive throughout.
yeah, one of those cases where like the writer's trying to be like way too specific about things, and maybe it's not landing like at the same. It's not open enough to be maybe relatable or understood by the audience in some way, you know? And maybe that's where some confusion comes about what she's trying to create. I don't know.
I do like the instrumentals though, and I like the melody in the song. I think those are strong. It's just
Agreed.
I think the lyrics could have maybe been a bit stronger.
I feel like it's kind of cool to think about this in relation to Clean later, because obviously like Clean is a much cleaner track. um, but it's cool to see like where it started, like where she started thinking about this
Yeah.
idea, and
Mm,
it's cool to see that she progressively like improved it over time, because Clean is
Yeah, for sure.
several years after this. So
Yeah, it's like an idea that started here and it evolved into this different thing, like an earlier draft that was able to evolve.
that's one thing I
Yeah.
love the most about like demo tracks, and I mean I guess her vault tracks in general, but I mean not specifically to Taylor Swift, but in general, just kind of seeing, oh, you know, that's where that came from, and you can really track it to like it evolved to this thing that whether it happened in that
Yeah.
same album or like years later, it is interesting. I don't know. Because
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like when you can see like an earlier draft from a writer or like a letter
Right.
they wrote to somebody about like something they were writing and like what they were thinking or
Yeah.
how their thinking evolved over the course of several years. So it's cool to hear the song from that perspective, but I can see maybe why it wasn't yet ready yet to be on the official album.
For sure.
Let's move on to song 2.
Oh, we got a soup.
Mr. Perfect Face, Mr. Here to Stay. Mr. Looked me in the eye and told me you would never go away. Everything was right, Mr. I've been waiting for you all my life. Mr. Every single day until the end I will be by your side. But that was when I got to know Mr. Change of Heart. Mr. Leaves me all alone, I fall apart. It takes everything in me just to get up each day. But it's wonderful to see that you're okay. Hello, Mr. Perfectly Fine. How's your heart after breaking mine? Mr. Always at the right place at the right time, baby. Hello, Mr. Casually Cruel. Mr. Everything revolves around you. I've been misery since your goodbye. And you're Mr. Perfectly Fine. Mr. Never told me why. Mr. Never had to see me cry. Mr. Insincere apology so he doesn't look like the bad guy. He goes about his day, forgets he ever even heard my name. Well, I thought you might be different than the rest. I guess you're all the same. Because I hear he's got his arm around a brand new girl. I've been picking up my heart, he's been picking up her. And I never got past what you put me through. But it's wonderful to see that it never fazed you. Hello, Mr. Perfectly Fine. How's your heart after breaking mine? Mr. Always at the right place at the right time, baby. Hello, Mr. Casually Cruel. Mr. Everything revolves around you. I've been misery since your goodbye. And you're Mr. Perfectly Fine. So dignified in your well-pressed suit, so strategized, all the eyes on you. Sashay your way to your seat. It's the best seat in the best room. Oh, he's so smug, Mr. Always wins. So far above me in every sense. So far above feeling anything. And it's really such a shame. It's such a shame. 'Cause I was Miss Here to Stay. Now I'm Miss Gonna Be Alright someday. And someday maybe you'll miss me, but by then you'll be Mr. Too Late. Goodbye, Mr. Perfectly Fine. How's your heart after breaking mine? Mr. Always at the right place at the right time, baby. Goodbye, Mr. Casually Cruel. Mr. Everything revolves around you. I've been misery for the
his faults, I think Joe Jonas gave her a lot of great material. All her songs about him are top notch. So
Was this about him?
yeah,
I'm not too familiar with her dating timelines, but interesting.
I'm pretty sure, right, Kate?
Yeah, yeah. It's supposed to be about. Well, I mean, that's what they say. I don't know. You know, like
Well, didn't because when it came out, I remember his wife was like, who is not his wife anymore, and has been like a whole thing in the news lately.
Sophie.
Yeah, I don't know if she like posted herself singing or what, but she definitely like commented on it.
Freaking Jonas Brothers. This is dumb, but it was really creepy to me to have a person in a suit whose face we cannot see in the lyric video the whole time. I just felt like they were getting closer and closer this entire video, and it was freaking me out, but that's okay. It's an interesting idea for a song, like having everything be framed around like Mr. Something, right? And then like kind of flipping it into Miss Something to refer to herself. I wish some of the rhyming was stronger. Nothing is actually like actually rhyming. She tries to rhyme like cruel and you, but by doing it, like she extends the vowels and like in you, like you, ooh, cruel, and she kind of gets away with a lot of stuff by doing that, which is very clever. So I mean, that's definitely like a positive thing for her, but just kind of like just reading the lyrics, it doesn't feel the way that it's landing in the song, which is interesting. I don't know.
There is some rhyming throughout.
Yeah,
It's
there
just
is.
it's not consistent enough to
Mhm.
be noticed, I guess.
I guess that was what I was like focusing on. That there were times where it was rhyming, and then like I wanted it to rhyme in a different part. and
Yeah.
It didn't quite rhyme, and then I was like, okay, so it's just inconsistency. But
yeah, I think the
Yeah, but
rhymes are tighter in the first half of the song, but in the second half of the song, like I think you really see the rhymes like start to like fall apart a little bit. Which could be one of the reasons it wasn't included on the album. I don't know.
it's definitely a banger. Like it could have
Yeah,
been
for
it's very
sure.
poppy, very
Young.
catchy. Could definitely see this be like one of the singles in an album, especially like Fearless era.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely
um,
think this could have been tightened up and then like totally been a single for sure.
I feel like we would be remiss with our English degrees not to mention the change in point of view throughout.
You would be remiss.
So the whole thing is addressed to a Mr. Something,
Uh-huh.
but then throughout she also uses the you. She uses so she switches into second person, and then she also has first person at certain points, which is fine because like throughout she is speaking toward someone, and sometimes like when you're trying to make a point, you talk about someone in the third person even when you're talking to them.
Hmm.
So that's just kind of a cool feature about this song, is that she's very like fluid with point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty seamless. Like, I think you have to be thinking about it to catch it. And I'm trying to think of other like interesting things she does. Miss Misery.
Oh, I was just gonna say I love that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's so like heart-wrenching at times when she just like she gets like really vulnerable with those lines, I think.
Oh, for sure. I guess the sound of Miss Misery is not something I enjoyed, but like, I mean that doesn't take away from the vulnerability that's happening there.
How did you feel about those lines, Kate?
How did you feel, Betty? Hi, Betty. It reminded me of the Elliott Smith song, Miss Misery. That's what it reminded me of. That's all I have to say.
Whoa.
There's violins.
We used to walk along the streets when the porch lights were shining bright before I had somewhere to be. Back when we had all night, when we were happy. I do recall a good while back. We snuck into the circus. You threw your arms around my neck. Back when I deserved it. And we were happy. When it was good, baby. It was good, baby. We showed them all. No one could touch the way we laughed in the dark, talking about your daddy's farm we were gonna buy someday. And we were happy.
All right, I have a question.
Yeah, let's go.
Laughed in the dark talking about your daddy's farm we were going to buy someday. Is his dad going to charge him for this
I was
farm?
thinking the same thing.
I was like, that's kind of, I don't know. I know nothing about farming, so maybe that's something that has to happen. But I was like, damn, your dad's going to charge you to pass down the farm? That's cold.
I was like, inheritance.
That's
Do you have to like? I don't know. Yeah, I was thinking.
maybe, yeah, like maybe you know what? If anyone knows, let us know in the comments. If anyone has insight, we would appreciate it.
The other
So
thing,
weird how I didn't even question that.
he was just ready to like buy stuff from her parents. It's okay.
I was like, okay.
The other thing
And your dad's gonna charge us double.
Maybe it's like the like in Riverdale where his dad
Oh
has
my
like
gosh. The wheels are coming
I'm
off.
watching Riverdale right now. Where his dad has like this business, but he doesn't necessarily want him to take over. Or does he?
He does.
I don't know. I've lost the plot so many times in that
the
show.
plot
but-
lost itself. So
It could be it could be a case of like somebody has a family owned business where they don't necessarily want their child to follow in their footsteps.
I
But
don't
the
know.
kid
So in that
wants
case, the
to,
dad
and
is
so they
gonna
have
charge
to like
them
buy it. What, Kate?
I said in that case, that dad might charge them double to buy the farm.
Yeah. Okay, I think we can keep going.
No, since we stopped it here, I did want to say
Okay.
that I like the
Yes, serious plan.
I like the like how so the line "No one could touch the way we left in the dark." When I first started, I was like, I don't know if I like it or not, and then but I mean there is something going on. Like you're making laugh become a tangible thing, although obviously like no one can touch it, so maybe not. But it's an interesting way to think about laughing. I think. I don't know. Like it contradicts itself because it's making it tangible, but not because of that first half of that line. Maybe there's nothing to what I'm saying right now, but that's okay.
I do think like there's some interesting things happening at the beginning with setting. Like she uses a lot of imagery to like create a setting and a sense of like timelessness, like this idea of like having all night and not having anywhere to be, like the sense that like time can like last forever. I think that's interesting. I also think it's interesting when she implicates herself at the end of verse 1 where she says back when I deserved it. So there's like the implication that she also did something to like, you know, make this relationship go sour.
Yeah, there's definitely some like self-deprecation happening there.
Yeah.
I mean, the repeating the title of the song twice in the first verse is definitely like a choice to make a point of like the emotions happening and then the fact that they're no longer there maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, using the past tense in the title is also sort of indicative of the fact that they're no longer happy. And I also love the way that the the writing, and I know this is unrelated to like the lyrics or the song itself, but the lyric video is doing a good job of also getting that across. Anytime it talks about like being happy, it seems like it's in yellow, and other times it's in like this darker like red color.
Oh, that's a good point. I haven't noticed that.
We used to watch the sun go down on the boats in the water. That's sorta how I feel right now. And goodbye so much harder. 'Cause we were happy when it was good, baby. It was good, baby. We showed them all up. No one could touch the way we laughed in the dark, talking about your daddy's farm we were gonna buy someday. And we were happy. We were happy. Oh, I hate those voices telling me I'm not in love anymore. But they don't give me choices, and that's what these tears are for. 'Cause we were happy. We were happy.
I want to talk about this. So when she says, oh, I hate these voices telling me I'm not in love anymore. We don't know whether these voices are like her friends, her family, or herself, right? Like, it could be kind of any amount of or combination of those.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I was wondering like if that's supposed to be like your inner monologue, like the voices in your like head that are telling you those things, or if it's like specific actual voices. Because it does, like, the other parts of the song do refer to like a collective group of other people. Like, we showed them all up. Like, there's someone outside that they are showing up through their relationship. So like there is like another group of people like watching them throughout the song, or like commenting on them throughout the song. So I wasn't sure if those voices like referred to that group of people who were like commenting or didn't think the relationship was a good idea, or if it's her inner monologue.
Yeah, and like to bringing it back to kind of what you said about the back when I deserved it from the first verse, that is, basically a part where she's having inner voices telling her that, because
right.
So yeah, there's like both instances happening. Yeah. Anyway, just want to point that out.
When it was good, baby, it was good, baby. We showed them all up. No one could touch the way we laughed in the dark, talking about your daddy's farm. You were gonna marry me, and we were happy. We were happy. Oh.
Kaleidoscope again.
I do think it's interesting that the majority of this song occurs at night, like either when the sun is just going down or after it's already gone down. And I wonder if that relates to like the idea that they're hiding this relationship from certain people, or something like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I saw that like both the first two are considered like country pop albums. But the only thing that felt like country about this song was the mention of the farm. But it was in the chorus, so it was repeated more than once. But honestly, I don't really see how this is country otherwise. And I don't know why I'm pointing that out, really. I've kind of
Anytime you have a farm.
my train of thought, but yeah. Why I brought it up is because I don't know. I've lost my thought. Sorry. I'm just going to delete that comment.
No, but it's interesting,
Just
I
get
think,
it.
to think about like genre and why things are placed, especially in like the pop industry. Sometimes like things are just labeled as something because the artist typically sings that, even though the song is not actually that genre. And I guess that kind of relates to just the publishing industry as well, maybe.
I mean, like genres are definitely. I mean, part of the reason why like artists get labeled with certain genres is because, you know, their record label or their agent or their manager like wants them to appeal to a certain audience, right?
Mhm.
And so something can get labeled country because they're trying to push it towards a country audience, and it can still have like characteristics or traits of other genres in it.
They were still trying to make her a country artist.
Yeah, right, correct.
Yeah. Fearless was her third album?
Second.
Second album. Okay. Yeah. That seems right. I like this song. I just wish every verse had like a little bit more, if that makes sense. Like it felt like there were times some of the lines were repeated enough throughout the song that I was like, there could have been something in place of this. I don't know, like something more detail, an extra, more development in this verse or this bridge. I don't know. The one that we just pointed out, the "Oh, I hate these voices" verse, I kind of wanted that to be a little longer, just a little more emotional, because there is a turn there in melody and lyrics, and it just felt short. Like it felt like we could have had more of the emotions that she was feeling in that moment. I don't know. Maybe in the process of songwriting, when you get to a point where you're like, okay, this song won't make the cut, you kind of stop developing it, and
Yeah,
maybe that's just.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
You said I know when I said I need some time, need some space to think about all of this. You watched me go, and I knew my words were hard to hear and harder to ever take back. And I said, when can I come back? And you said, that's when I wake up in the morning. That's when it's sunny or storming, laughing when I'm crying. And that's when I'll be waiting at the front gate. That's when I see your face, I let you in. And baby, that's when.
I said I know when you said I did you wrong, made mistakes, and put you through all of this. Then through the phone came all your tears, and I said leave those all in our past. And you said, oh, when can I come back? And I said, that's when I wake up in the morning. That's when it's sunny or stormy, laughing when I'm crying.
And that's when I'll be waiting at the front gate. That's when I see your face, I'll let you in. And baby, that's when.
So the premise of this song falls apart a little bit for me personally.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that the whole like "that's when" is landing every single time it's used throughout, and it really needs to if it's going to be repeated so often, and if it's going to be like the title of the song and like the structural focus of the song throughout. I do like Keith Urban though, and I like that he's on this track, and I like his portion of the track as well. Not as much as I like hers, of course, but I think that they sound good together.
I don't have much to say about this song. I feel like for the same reasons, it feels like it's more focused on the musicality of the repetition and the lyrics rather than what's actually happening. I have trouble following the dialogue and what's happening. I feel like I'm very strongly misunderstanding just timeline in general of what's happening. Like I get it's like about a relationship. I get that it's about like that they broke up, right? Like they're moving on from a relationship and they're looking back into it. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, in the chorus, or in the pre-chorus, she says, "When can I come back?" And then, like, the whole chorus is basically just an answer to that, which is fine. I think it's a cool idea, but it doesn't land for me successfully. Because a lot of the response doesn't fit grammatically. Because it's like a progression of things that happen. It's like a series of things that happen.
Mm-hmm.
They say, when I wake up in the morning, that's when it's sunny or storming, laughing when I'm crying. Like, it's just, there's a lot going on. And it gets very confusing.
She's trying to fill every possibility of what could be happening in her morning into like 2 lines, right? Like, so that's kind of saying like in the mornings it's either sunny or storming, and it's like, well, yeah, you know, it's always either one of those. I don't know. I feel like she's trying to fit every single scenario. What was the other song that I said was way too specific? I feel like this is way too vague.
But maybe that's the point. Like, maybe she is trying to cover like literally every scenario so that she can say like, that's when. It's like literally everything.
Stadium country of her.
Okay, so maybe this is just a very indecisive speaker, right? Like, she doesn't know if she wants to be with this person or not.
Okay.
In these different situations, and that like indecisiveness is just coming through in those lyrics. Maybe. I don't know.
But then the specificity ladder in the chorus, ladder. But then there's specificity
ladder in the chorus.
Like she says, that's when I'll be waiting at the front gate. That's when I see your face, I'll let you in. And baby, that's when.
No, you're right.
It's like,
you're right,
okay,
you're right.
But then if you're going to be specific about that, why is like...
Yeah, no, you're right.
Chorus just all over the place.
Yeah, no,
I don't know that I am.
Song,
it's a confusing song.
I think this song would have been stronger if she had just like leaned into like, this is like a person who doesn't know what they want and doesn't know if they want to be with this person and is like going back and forth between like, you know, being with them or not being with them. Maybe then it could have been like a little bit more, like it could have had more depth as a song. But yeah, right now I think that it's those lines are very unclear to me. I'm not sure how they're supposed to land.
What's it called when you repeat something in a poem? I think in a poem, repetition is referred to as anaphora. And if somebody brought this into workshop, we'd say that it was an unsuccessful case of anaphora.
What I struggle with, and I feel like I'm missing something. I don't know why, because it's confusing to me. But So you have all the verses, you know, it's dialogue. You said this, I said this, blah blah blah, something happened. And then it transitions to the, I guess this is like the chorus, when it's, and you said, that's when I wake up in the morning. I'm very confused at the first, like, and you said in every one of those. Like, what is that? Because that's not, they're not literally saying that, right?
Wait, what? What?
Explain this. I'm so confused.
I don't know what you're saying.
So,
Oh,
okay.
are they
Let's
saying
take a
that's
look at
when? Are they saying that's when?
Let me explain the first two verses. You have a dialogue. Is this person
Okay.
says, "I need some time. I need some space." So he is saying that. Then the girl is like leaving,
Yeah.
and he's watching her leave. And then
Oh, I thought the girl needed the time and space. Oh man, I'm lost. I'm lost.
okay, if it starts, you said, "I know." Oh no, it was her. Sorry, you're right. Okay, the girl is saying,
Yeah.
I need some time to think about all of this, and then the guy watched her leave. Right? Okay, we're clear there.
Yeah.
Then it's saying like the word, what she had just said was hard for him to accept,
Mhm.
and it's hard for her to take those words back now that they've been said. And then she says, "When can I come back?" And now this transition, I don't understand, and it happens throughout the whole song. And you said, "That's when I wake up in the morning. That's when it's thunderstorming." Like, is
Yeah.
this a response that the guy is giving her?
Yeah.
That makes no sense to
Yeah.
me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense because it's nonsensical or nonsensical. Like,
I feel like someone is gonna watch us have like a mental
No.
breakdown about this song and be like, "It's super clear," and explain it to us, and we're like, "Oh, okay."
Okay. So if I said, okay, Joaquin, okay, so I'm gonna say, when can I come back? And then you say, that's when I wake up in the morning. That wouldn't make sense.
That's what I'm
If
saying.
you,
doesn't
if you
land.
responded to me,
the structure falls apart
if you responded to
immediately.
me that way, I'd be like, what?
Exactly.
Why are you telling me about waking up in the morning?
Like one feels like that, like you know, the mystical man trope who's like, when the wind, flies north, that's when I'll appear, and it's like, oh, okay, cool,
Yeah.
but it's not even clear that way. You know, that, I don't know.
I don't think it's that.
Okay, so I'm just lost. I feel super stupid with this song.
Yeah, no. If I said to someone, when can I come back, and they said, that's when I wake up in the morning, that's when it's sunny or storm and laughing when I'm crying, I'd be like,
And-
okay, like Monday, then? I don't know.
The other thing is that none of those things are in quotations, at least in the lyrics that are written, right?
Right.
So it's like,
No, well, no, they're all like, that's when I wake up in the morning, that's when it's sunny or storm and laughing when I'm crying, and that's when I'll be waiting at the front gate, that's when I see your face, I'll let you in, and baby, that's when. All that is in quotations.
oh,
All that is in quotations. The entire thing.
yeah, that doesn't
At
make
least
sense.
in the lyrics I have.
That does make sense. That part of it makes sense. IMO.
Could you explain it to me?
So if I asked, when can I come back, and you responded to me with that, how does that, like, I don't get how that makes sense.
I mean, it doesn't, but yeah, like, it makes it makes sense in the fact that, like,
All right, maybe okay. Let's look at a different set.
so that's
too.
why
The
that's
next-
why I started this by saying that the structure falls apart immediately, and it
Right.
just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And they need a new
Yeah.
repetition. If they're gonna use repetition throughout this song, they need something different, and that's when.
Yeah.
Because there are also other cases of when throughout, and it gets too confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Like, it's an interesting structure.
Because in both verses have a "when I said" line too.
Yes. Yes. There's a lot of whens.
And if you know the name of the song is "That's When," and then you hear the "when" lines, it's just like, I feel like we've lost the plot.
If anyone says when again, I'm just like, I can't.
Now, when is this song happening?
This song is more confusing than Riverdale.
Oh, that's saying a lot. Those are strong words. Yeah.
This is just going to turn into a video about Riverdale by the end of it.
Oh man. So how would Archie and Betty fit into this song?
Betty is not until later. Betty's not till folklore, so we wouldn't know.
That's funny. I was
Yeah.
okay. I
Great.
don't have anything else to say about this song.
Yeah, great conversation about that. I don't think you can use any of that at all in your video.
Those are some nice stools.
I would love to have this view every morning with my coffee.
They need a back, though. I mean, like, for us old people, they need a back. I don't want to sit on a stool without a back.
Only for brief periods of time, just like 3 minutes. It's okay. Okay.
Hey, I knew I'd run into you somewhere. It's been a while, I didn't mean to stare. I heard she's nothing like me. I'm sure she'll make you happy. But don't you smile at me and ask me how I've been. Don't you say you've missed me if you don't want me again. You don't know how much I feel I love you still, so why don't you? Don't you? Sometimes I really wish that I could hate you. I've tried, but that's just something I can't do. My heart knows what the truth is. I swore I wouldn't do this, but don't you smile at me and ask me how I've been. Don't you say you've missed me if you don't want me again. You don't know how much I feel I love you still, so why don't you? Don't you? So I walk out of here tonight, try to go on with my life, and you can say we're still friends. I don't wanna pretend. So if I see you again, don't you smile at me and ask me how I've been. Don't you say you've missed me if you don't want me again. You don't know how much I feel I love you still, so why don't you? Don't you? Don't you?
I zoned out so hard listening to that.
It does have that effect, I think, melodically. That was a nice song. I think like everything was pretty clear to me. The melody was nice. Not, wasn't really like a poppy song, just slow, emotional song. Probably why you got lost in it. There was a point where you were laughing. I was curious about that.
I was laughing because I realized I had like zoned out
Oh.
for the last minute or so
That's funny.
and had no idea what was going on. I don't think this is one I'll be like repeating.
I think the narrative in this one was very clear. We get kind of exactly what's going on with this person and this other person she's seeing. I like the repetition throughout. I like the melody. It was good. I think it's a good, like, sad song.
Would you listen to it again?
If I was really sad, if I had, like, just broken up with somebody, sure.
I think it's just vague enough that it can fit a lot of scenarios. But also, I think, and I hate saying this because I don't know, I think it's I think everything happening in the song is really basic. Like nothing is really strong, like the word choice, the what's happening is just very like, I'm sad because something bad happened and I used to love you and it hurts to think about that. And that's kind of as deep as it gets. You know what I mean? That's what I mean by basic. Like it's not doing anything revolutionary for a sad song. And I think that's why I probably wouldn't re-listen to it if that's kind of like the criteria we want to use for the quality of this song. Like there's stronger sad songs that she's made that I would favor over this one, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Just like a movie, the rain didn't soak through my clothes down to my skin. I'm driving away and I guess you could say this is the last time I'll drive this way again. Lost in the gray and I try to grab at the fray, 'cause I still love you, but I can't. Bye-bye to everything I thought was on my side. Bye-bye, baby. I want you bad, but it's come down to nothing. And all I have is your sympathy. 'Cause you took me home, but you just couldn't keep me. Picture frame is empty, on the dress vacant just like me. I see you writing on the dash, and back to your hesitation. I was so sure of everything I thought we'd always have. Guess I never doubted it. Then the here and the now floods in. Feels like I'm becoming a part of your pain. Bye-bye to everything I thought was on my side. Bye-bye, baby. I want you bad, but it's come down to nothing. And all I have is your sympathy. 'Cause you took me home, but you Bye bye, baby. Bye bye, baby.
I expected just by the title. I was surprised that it wasn't popular. Maybe because I had like, okay, don't hate me because I always confuse NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, but whoever sings the Bye Bye song.
In sync.
Okay.
In sync. Yeah.
That's what I had in mind coming into this, but it was not. It did not deliver what I thought, and that's not a bad thing. But I don't know. What did y'all think? I don't have many thoughts about this song.
I thought it was pretty poppy, but it was like more of a soft pop and not really like in line with the rest of the album, in my opinion. This album has so many like strong hits on it, and this just it kind of fell flat for me a little bit. Like it's not. I don't know if falling flat is the right thing to say. It's just it's not doing anything new.
Yeah, kind of similar to the last one.
Yeah.
When you say this album,
Actually, probably the exact same thing as the last one. I'm talking about Fearless.
okay. Yeah, I agree.
I think a lot of these vault songs contain a lot of similar themes and imagery, like the rain we've seen before, the like act of like driving or driving away we've seen in the vault tracks also. The idea of like wanting to be with somebody who doesn't want to be with you.
I think every time we listen to these vault tracks, I have this like hope that they'll be good. But then and sometimes they are, like sometimes they have these breakthrough qualities that that make the listening worthwhile, like Mr. Perfectly Fine. But for the most part, I feel like we end up feeling like we understand why most of the songs are in the vault.
I feel like typically half of them. I like if now that we've done these a few times, it's fairly consistent that a good chunk, around half of the ones are kind of like, okay, this is very clear why it didn't make the album. Like there's either a stronger version of this song already in the album, or it's just like a throwaway song. And like, I mean, I think as writers and as poets especially, that just happens a lot more than people think. People only talk about the ones that are published and get recognition or whatever, but if you read someone's like entire collected work of some whatever, there's always so many that are just like, what is even happening here?
Yeah.
And that's fine. Again, that's the thing we have to remember as listeners of vault tracks, right? Like,
Yeah.
and demo tracks or whatever you want to call them.
I think that like, Taylor is really good at like picking a theme or picking a lane for an album and creating an album out of that theme or that purpose or that lane that she wants to for that specific album. And she writes a lot of songs that fit that theme. And ultimately, there are going to be some that just don't work as well as others. So it makes sense that you would leave some of those off. I think specifically with Red, like we liked a lot of those tracks because we thought that they brought like a different perspective that we hadn't seen yet on the album. But I think with these ones, like they're speaking a lot to things that we already see happening. And so that's maybe why we feel a little bit let down by them.
Yeah.
So I guess we should do our final thoughts now, or is there anything else we want to say about this song?
I thought, it was okay. Like you all have said, like it didn't wow me or anything like that. It just felt like an extension of like the last song that we do. I get like when you're in like a very emotional state, you just like write and write and write, and you put like all that emotion into writing. And so I think this was definitely like a product of that. But it just isn't as strong as some of the other songs.
I do think that the other side of what we were just saying is like, although many of these are throwaway or not strong songs or whatever, there is that occasional banger though. And I think like Mr. Perfectly Fine is a great example of that. It's and we all agree that this could have been a single in an album. You know, like this could have been the Shake It Off of this album, and been totally normal. No one would have said anything about it. But potentially, like we've also said in the past, like maybe it wasn't the right time for that song. Maybe, you know, there's so many maybes or like factors to why the song goes in and out, not just the quality or development of it.
Yeah, so I guess we don't need to do the final thoughts because we've already shared them.
I was gonna say that these were kind of like our final thoughts. It felt like. But do you want to rank them?
I feel like we all liked Mr. Perfectly Fine as our favorite.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
I don't think we liked him either. So
No, I liked the first. I don't remember the first three. I remember feeling the way that I feel right now about this one and the last one, definitely. But I think the first three were fine. Maybe the first two. I like the one with the circus.
should we?
I need to see the titles again.
We're happy.
But yeah, I like that one. Like I said at the time, I think it's just not as developed as I would want it to be, but I did like it. And
Should we spend some time discussing That's When?
No. We've already spent enough time discussing That's When. I would like to see. I'll say this one. I will say this one thing. I would like to see a play using the That's When dialogue with two actors just saying the dialogue in that song. I would like to see
Oh
that.
my god, can we recreate that?
No.
We definitely should. Yeah, we definitely should. I'm 100%
When you're
on
here
board.
next week. You're gonna be here next week. Let's
I'm-
do it.
100% I'm on board.
Oh my god, I'm so excited.